The sirens were already screaming when she dropped to her knees, clutching a small paper bag to her chest, her voice breaking as she begged them to wait, just for a minute, just long enough to feed him first before they arrested her. Snow mixed with rain soaked her hair, red and blue lights painted her face, and behind the officers, a low thunder of motorcycle engines began to grow, unnoticed for now. No one there knew that within minutes, this street would become the center of a moment that would shake hardened hearts and rewrite what justice looked like that night. Before the story unfolds, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of humanity in the darkest moments, please like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to the channel Only Kindness. Her name was Maribel Cross, and she had not planned to steal anything that night. The city was cold in a way that cut deeper than winter, the kind of cold that settled into bones and refused to leave. Maribel had been sleeping under the freeway for 3 weeks, ever since the diner where she washed dishes closed without warning. She had tried shelters, but they were full, and she had tried day labor, but nobody wanted someone who looked as tired as she did. The only thing that mattered to her now was the thin boy wrapped in a threadbare hoodie beside her, her younger brother Isaac, whose stomach pains had worsened all day. He had not eaten since the morning before, and by nightfall, his shaking scared her more than the police ever could. The grocery store was bright and warm, smelling of bread and roasted chicken, and for a moment Maribel allowed herself to imagine paying, walking out like everyone else, sitting somewhere safe. But imagination did not fill empty hands. She took a single container of soup, 2 bread rolls, and a banana, hiding them beneath her coat as her heart pounded so loudly she thought everyone could hear it. She almost made it out. Almost. The security guard's hand on her arm was firm but not cruel, yet the humiliation burned worse than hunger. When the police arrived, Isaac collapsed onto the sidewalk, dizzy and crying, and that was when Maribel forgot about pride, about fear, about everything except him. She knelt there, explaining through tears that she would go quietly, that she understood she had broken the law, but begging them to let her feed her brother first. The officers hesitated, bound by rules, eyes flicking between their radios and the sick child. A small crowd gathered, some filming, some whispering judgments. The rain kept falling, and then the ground began to vibrate. From the far end of the street, headlights appeared in pairs, then dozens, then what felt like an endless line. The sound was unmistakable, deep and powerful, rolling like thunder between the buildings. 220 motorcycles turned the corner in slow formation, leather-clad riders moving with disciplined calm. The Hells Angels had been riding through the city on their annual memorial run, honoring fallen brothers, when they saw the scene. They did not rev their engines aggressively or shout. They parked, they watched, and they understood. The crowd fell silent, the officers stiffened, hands hovering near their belts, tension thick enough to taste. One rider, an older man with silver threaded through his beard, removed his helmet and stepped forward. He did not speak to the police at first. He looked at Maribel, at Isaac curled against her side, and then at the paper bag on the wet pavement. Without ceremony, riders dismounted one by one. Someone draped a heavy jacket over Isaac's shoulders. Another rider handed Maribel a bottle of water. A third quietly passed a folded blanket from his saddlebag. No words were needed. The message was clear. What happened next shocked everyone watching. The riders formed a loose circle, not threatening, but protective, creating space and warmth in the cold chaos. One of them walked back to the grocery store and returned with bags of food, receipts still attached, setting them down gently. The officers, faced with a situation no training manual had prepared them for, stepped back. Radios crackled, supervisors were called, time stretched, an ambulance arrived, summoned by someone who cared more about the boy's color than about protocol. Paramedics examined Isaac and confirmed what Maribel already knew in her bones: severe hunger and exhaustion, but nothing that could not be healed with food, rest, and safety. As Isaac slowly ate, color returning to his face, Maribel sobbed into her hands, the weight of weeks finally breaking free. The officers conferred quietly. Charges were discretionary, circumstances mattered, witnesses mattered, and so did the 220 silent men and women standing in the rain, not as criminals, not as threats, but as witnesses to compassion. The handcuffs never closed around Maribel's wrists that night. Instead, a report was written differently. A warning replaced an arrest. A ride was offered, not to jail, but to a shelter that had suddenly found space. As the motorcycles eventually started again, their engines no longer frightening but comforting, the street felt changed. People who had come to watch drama left having witnessed humanity. Maribel held Isaac close as he slept, full for the first time in days, wrapped in borrowed warmth. She would later find work through a writer's sister who ran a small cleaning business. She would later move into a tiny apartment. She would later tell Isaac that the night everything almost fell apart was also the night everything began to heal.